Hello all and welcome to another late night beer review, which I am dubbing the Insomnia beer review because I had some really bad insomnia, well, this morning, due to eating some bad McDonald's as well as it being a very humid and hot day. Hence, I've been up for over 24 hours and and this is after washing dishes. So I did my security shift, kind of laid in bed uncomfortably for about 5 hours and then went to go and wash dishes at the restaurant. So, I'm kind of dead tired, but still got enough energy to go and do a beer review. And what are we reviewing tonight? Well, we're reviewing one of the more controversial ones, in that people either loved it or hated it, from the 2017 Beer Camp, Beers Across the World, and this is Campout Porter, brewed with vanilla and honey from the Garage Project, which is a New Zealand brewery. So let's read the back, shall we? In honor of Beer Camp, our friends at New Zealand's Garage Project Brewery wanted to carry the camping theme straight through to the flavor of our beer. Featuring a unique malt smoked over manuka wood, rare manuka honey, and vanilla beans, this robust porter has sweet notes reminiscent of marshmallows roasted over a campfire. So, yeah, New Zealand, manuka, probably native tree there. Some of the more local brewers, work more with local ingredients, I think, in certain respects. But that's another video for another time. So people either loved this or didn't like it. It's kind of a heavy porter at 7.7 ABV. So let's get to this, shall we? Let this warm up a bit so it can be a little bit more redolent. Hopefully didn't warm it up a little bit too much, considering the temperature outside today. Pours a beautiful, very almost opalescent, can still see light at the bottom, red-brown, sort of ruby brown, with a light beige, thick light beige head. Definitely smell the smoked malts, so it's definitely smoky and sweet. Vanilla's there. It does evoke a little bit toasted marshmallows in the nose. The malts, besides being smoked, also have very chocolatey notes to it. And a slight hint of earthy and floral hops. All in all, it does very well to evoke, the smell of s'mores. A little bit more like commercial s'mores, the pre-made, pre-packaged kind, rather than, hot off the campfire s'mores. Mainly because the smoked element is not as strong as you would expect it to be, at least in the nose. Let's go to the taste. A bit more biting carbonation than I expected. Also a bit drier than I expected. Much more reminiscent of really bittersweet chocolate rather than the milk chocolate that you usually use in s'mores. Sweetness is there, it's mostly up front. Not really identifiable as honey, though. It comes across generally as a sort of generalized sweetness. No, it might be because it's a little bit still too cold. I want to go and err on the side of coldness rather than the side of warmth because, you can just hold like this and make it warmer via body heat. Somebody once commented on my video why I make those kind of like snucking noises. I'm trying to keep my nasal cavities as open as possible by kind of like flushing them with air. That's just FYI. All in all, very dry finish. A little bit more hoppy than I was expecting. Not that it comes across as sort of like a dark IPA. It's just, a tad bit more resin than I expected. It's not really sort of roast dryness though. I wonder if it might be dry. I wonder if that bitterness might be from the wood, the smoked malts. Because I don't know, the kind of character that manuka wood would impart to the malts. Some smoke, as people who do barbecue could tell you, some smoke. What you smoke your meat with really can have a wide range of effects on the flavor. So I don't know if it's the manuka wood that might actually be causing that sort of slightly resiny dryness in the finish. As it warms up, the vanilla is starting to peek its head out in the front to mids, just ever so slightly with that sort of sweetness. Kind of nutty notes emerging from the malts too, in the mids. By the way, it doesn't drink like a 7.7. It drinks like maybe about a 5.6 or so. As it warms up, it's becoming a little bit more balanced. The sweetness is starting to expand in the front, go into the mids, and almost into the finish here. It's still really not evocative of s'mores on the palate, as it is in the nose, where it was evocative. Just, for me, not a very genuine s'more, sort of like pre-made s'mores. Though that might just be me being kind of picky, because it's probably very difficult to go and make even sort of any kind of thing with a remote resemblance to kind of s'mores in a beer. Kind of cola-like notes emerging in the front too, alongside the chocolate. Again, main sort of flavor note from start to finish, sort of bittersweet chocolate. So it warms up, maybe becoming slightly boozy, maybe starting to show a little bit more of its oomph. I'm staying on this one for a bit longer than the other ones because it seems to be evolving in a good direction as it warms up. I just really wish, it didn't have that sort of resiny note in the finish. That's either stayed kind of roasted or, just mild hot bitterness in that finish. Just to kind of clean the palate just a little bit. Okay, kind of summarize it. Kind of a great sort of bouquet there that really is evocative of what they're trying to hit. You know, flavor in the mouth, not so much. Mostly kind of done in by that kind of finish, which I find, you know, just a little bit off, just a little bit too resiny. Maybe it's, though it could be the manuka smoke instead of hop resin. You know, it kind of defeats the, even as sweetness kind of expands as it warms up, is still kind of not quite overcoming to truly be evocative of, you know, of s'mores in a porter. Even sort of accounting for the fact that it's a beer and thus will not be as sort of desserty sweet as a s'more. You know, it just doesn't quite hit it for me. In that note, it's still, you know, I'm being kind of tough because, you know, it's Sierra Nevada, it's beer camp. These small brewers are all given a chance to kind of like show and wow and show, and, you know, I give them credit for trying. I haven't tried many other beer porters or stouts that try to evoke that sort of s'mores kind of thing, but I applaud them for using local ingredients, and you know, it was an interesting thing to try. That's your beer review for tonight, folks. Cheers.